Hi everybody and welcome back to the surprise. Oh, hold on actually.
Unfortunately, IGTG.
No problem. I appreciate you coming in and subscribing and hanging out with me. I hope you have a really good day or evening or whatever you're up to. And I'll talk to you soon, okay? Alright, let's get this little magical moment. Take two. Hi everybody and welcome back to the surprise toy box giveaway. We have another board game today that I enjoy playing, and so I figured I'd show it to you guys and how to play. This one is called Survive Escape from Atlantis. This is another older game. This is the 30th anniversary edition set. First thing when you open, of course, what you get is the board itself, which is quite... Oh no, I didn't. Which is quite large compared to the last board game that I showed you. And it takes up quite a bit of space comparatively. So make sure you have plenty of room. Look at this gigantic thing. Oof, she is big. Look at that size compared to my hand. So there is plenty of board room here to be playing on. Okay, we're gonna start with the game rules, of course. They even have a iOS game for it if you guys are interested in checking that out. I have not, but I probably will now that I remember that it is there. Everything that comes with it should be some of these game pieces here. You should have little red guys with numbers on them and a dice, yellow guys with the numbers on them, green guys, some boats, and some blue guys with a couple shark fins, whales, and dragons. So without further ado, let's get into these instructions. It's early in the 20th century, a time of exploration and adventure. The mysterious island of Atlantis has been discovered in the middle of the ocean, and there are rumors of riches. After reaching Atlantis, the explorers are ready to return home with treasures and artifacts. But Atlantis begins to sink. Who will manage to reach dry land? Goal. At the end of the game, flip over all of the explorer tokens you have managed to get to safe isles and total the points printed on the bottom of these explorers. The player with the highest total, and not necessarily the most explorers saved, wins the game. It contains one board game, 4 terraria tiles, which are these guys here, 5 sea serpent tokens, 6 shark tokens, 5 whale tokens, 12 ship tokens, 1 creature dice, and 1 rule book. Game setup. Place the 5 sea serpent tokens on the spaces of the board with the sea serpent symbols on them. So as you see here, there's one in all the corners here. And one in the center. Shuffle the terraria tiles face up, showing the beach, forest, and mountainside, and place them randomly on the black boarded sea space of the game board. This way, you'll create an island made of beach, forest, mountains tiles with a sea serpent placed on the space in the middle. So these ones just randomly you'll place all about like this and has like the little those in there. And see, this is the side that you will be putting up. So there's 2 sides. There's a side where it has something on it, and there's the side where it has the sand and the land and everything. And you want to make sure it's the land part, not the side where it shows like something. Each player chooses a color and takes the 10 corresponding explorer tokens. So you can have up to 4, at least 2 players. Each player gets 2 ship tokens. The remaining ship tokens, as well as the sharks and whale tokens, are set aside for the moment. They will come into play during the game. Choose or randomly select the players who will play first. Quite logically called first player from here on out. Under each of the Explorer tokens is a number from 1 to 6. Take a good look at your tokens, but don't reveal those numbers to the other players. Try to remember throughout the game where you place each of them during the setup, as the higher the number is, the more points the Explorer is worth when you manage to get the token to a safe isle. As this number represents the amount of treasures the Explorer carries with him. I guess Nini is going to play with us today. Starting with the first player and proceed clockwise. The players each play an Explorer token on an empty terrain tile, meaning a terrain tile which doesn't contain an Explorer token. Take care not to reveal the numbers printed on your Explorer tokens when you place them. Placement continues until each player has placed all 10 of their Explorer tokens. When playing with less than 4 players, some terrain tiles will remain empty. Starting with the first player and proceeding clockwise, the player in turn places one of their ship's tokens on a free sea space, meaning that a space that doesn't contain a ship token or sea serpent token, adjacent into terrain tile. The placement tokens until each player has placed both of the ship tokens. Nini, you're very curious today, huh? Important note about Explorer tokens. Once the game has begun, you can no longer look at or reveal the value of your Explorer tokens, even if they've reached a safe isle or have been removed from the game. Game overview. The players will now, starting with the first player and proceeding clockwise, take their turns. During the game turn, you must perform these actions in order. 1. Play a terrain tile from your hand. Once per turn only, you may play a terrain tile you've obtained during a previous round. Naturally, you'll skip the step during your first turn, as well as any turns in which you don't have a terrain tile in hand. Move your Explorer and or ship tokens. You may move any combination of Explorer and or ship tokens. You are allowed 3 spaces of movement in total, on land or sea. For example, you can move 2 Explorer tokens 1 space each to get them into a ship, then move the ship in question 1 space. The goal is to get your Explorers onto the ship and get them to neighboring islands. Read the Moving Explorers and Ships section later for more details. 3. Remove a terrain tile. You must carefully remove a terrain tile from the island. Any Explorer on the tile is now on the sea space is previously occupied. Take a look at the back of the tile without showing it to other players and refer to the Using Information from the terrain tile section later on for more details. You must respect 2 conditions when you remove a terrain tile. First, you must choose a tile adjacent to at least 1 sea space, even if it's a space which previously had a terrain tile. Second, all of the beach tiles must be removed first, followed by the forest tiles, and finally the mountain tiles. This is to represent the terrain being closer to the sea sinking first. If a beach tile is completely surrounded by forest and or mountain tiles, remove it as the last beach tile, even if it's not adjacent to a sea space. The same goes for forest tiles surrounding the mountain. So that means these mountain tiles are taken last, and what it's saying is if these ones are all the way around and there is one of these in the center, you must take all of these ones that are just out in the open, not surrounded by anything, before you take the one that's in between all of the forest or mountain ones. Four, roll the die and move a creature. You must roll the creature die. Then you may move a creature, sea serpent, shark, or whale, corresponding to the die results and already on the game board. 1 or more sea spaces in order to attack another player or protect one of your own explorers. Read the Using a Die Results section below for more details. So, we're going to read the Using a Die results. The sea serpent, sharks, and whales have no effect on each other. They can occupy the same sea space. If the creature rolled isn't present on the board, nothing happens. Sea serpent. If the die results in sea serpent, move one of these creatures one sea space. If the sea serpent enters a sea space occupied by a ship containing passengers, remove the ship and any passengers from the game. Also, remove any swimmers on the sea space. If it was an empty ship, it remains in play. Shark. If the die results in shark, move one of these creatures or one or two sea spaces. If the shark enters a sea space occupied by one or more swimmers, the shark movement ends. Remove all swimmers from the sea space when the shark has stopped. If the space on which this shark is contains a ship, the shark doesn't affect it, or any passengers it may have. Whale. If the die results in a whale, move one of these creatures 1 to 3 sea spaces. If the whale enters a sea space occupied by a ship containing one or more passengers, its movement ends. The ship is removed from the game and its passengers become swimmers. If the sea space also contained a shark, the swimmers are removed from the game. A whale doesn't affect swimmers or empty ships on the same sea space itself. Moving explorers and ships. Explorers on land. You can move explorer tokens from a Terraria tile to an adjacent Terraria tile even if the latter is already occupied by one or more explorer tokens. You can move an explorer token from Terraria tile to a ship located on an adjacent sea space. You can move explorer tokens from ship to another ship on an adjacent sea space. You can move explorer token onto a ship already occupied by explorers of another color, but no more than 3 per ship. You cannot move another player's explorer tokens. Once an explorer token leaves the island by getting on a ship or becoming a swimmer, it can no longer return to the Terraria tile. Explorers on sea. Swimmers. Explorer tokens become swimmers when they move into a sea space from the adjacent Terraria tile. When they jump from a ship into the sea, the space in which the ship is, when they fall into a sea space when a Terraria tile is removed, or when a whale capsizes their ship and makes them fall into the sea space it occupied. You can move swimmers only one sea space on your turn. When a swimmer goes from a Terraria tile or ship into a sea space, it's considered to be a movement of one sea space. You may not move swimmers from a sea space into a boat in an adjacent sea space, since this would be considered 2 movements, and a swimmer may move only one sea space in turn. You can only move a swimmer onto a ship when they occupy the same sea space. A sea space can hold multiple swimmers. If you move a swimmer into a sea space containing a sea serpent or a shark, the swimmer is immediately removed from the game. Consequently, swimmers cannot cross that kind of sea space. Ships. When a ship is empty, any player can move it from one sea space to another as desired at the cost of 1 movement per space. A given sea space can only contain 1 ship at a time. Each ship can only carry a maximum of 3 explorer tokens regardless of color. When a ship contains explorers belonging to more than a single player, it's the player with the most explorers on board who controls the ship. When you control a ship, you're the only one who can move it. When multiple players have the same number of explorers in a ship, each player controls the ship. If you move a ship containing 1 or more explorers into a sea space containing a sea serpent or whale, the ship is immediately removed from the game. Its passengers become swimmers. Don't forget that if the sea space contains a shark or a sea serpent, the swimmers are immediately removed from the game. Reaching a safe isle. Explorers can disembark from a ship placed on one of the 2 sea spaces adjacent to one of the safest isles. Each explorer token leaving the ship costs 1 movement. The ship remains on the same sea space until moved again. Moving a swimmer onto a safe isle from one of the 2 adjacent sea spaces costs 1 movement. Your explorers can disembark on any safe isle, not just the one in front of you. Using information from Terraria tile. When you remove the Terraria tile, step number 3 from the game overview seen previously, discreetly look underneath it without showing it to the other players. There are 3 types of tiles, each of which is played differently. 1. To be played immediately. 2. To be played at the beginning of your turn. 3. To be played outside of your turn, defensively. Tiles to be played immediately, green outline. If you see one of these icons, immediately reveal the tile to the other player, perform the action given below, and then remove the Terrain tile from the game. So any of these with the green space on them has to be played immediately. And there's one more that's a boat, but I don't see that one yet. It looks like this, but it has a green tile on it, a green mark on it. Where is one? I would think I would already have it by now. How many of these I've flipped over? Oh, there it is. And the last one. Okay. Take a shark token that had been set aside and place it on the sea space that had been occupying by the terraria tile. Any swimmer on the sea space is removed from the game. Take a whale token that had been set aside and place it on the sea space that had been occupied on the terraria tile. Take a ship token that had been set aside and place it on the sea space that had been occupied by the terraria tile. If that sea space contains one or more swimmers, place them on a board on the board the ship. If the sea space contains more than 3 swimmers, it's the player who has revealed the terraria tile who chooses which ones get on board. Whirlpool. Remove from the game all swimmers, sea serpents, sharks, whales, ships, and explorers from the sea space the terraria tiles used to occupy, as well as from all adjacent sea spaces. Volcanic eruption. Refer to the end of the game section later for more details. Tiles to be played at the beginning of your turn, red outline. If you see one of these icons, place the tile face down on the front of in your hand of tiles. Then, once per turn during step 1 of your game turn is indicated in the game overview section, you can play one and only one of these tiles from your hand. Once a tile is played in this manner, remove it from the game. So that would be like, that would be like this one, this one, this one, this one, and that one's dirty. I gotta clean some of them. Okay. And should be one more. Oh, we're missing one. Where is it? There's gotta be one here somewhere. Ah, this one. Okay. A dolphin comes to help one of your swimmers. Move one of your swimmers 1 to 3 sea spaces. The wind favors you. Move a ship you control 1 to 3 sea spaces. Move the sea serpent of your choice already present on the game board at any vacant sea space of your choice. Move the shark of your choice already present on the game board to any vacant sea space of your choice. Move the whale of your choice already present on the game board at any vacant sea space of your choice. Tiles to be played outside of your turn defensively, red outline with a cross, and that is these two. Finally, if you see one of these icons, place the tile face down in front of you in your hand of tiles, as the side of the icon should remain hidden. These tiles can only be played during another player's turn and not on your own. They are considered to be defensive tiles as they are played in reaction to a creature's movement made by an opponent. Once such a tile has been played, remove it from the game. Here's how they should be resolved. When another player moves a shark onto a sea space occupied by one of your swimmers, you can play this terraria tile to remove the shark from the game. Before your swimmer is removed from the game by the shark, all swimmers remain in the sea space. When another player moves a whale onto a sea space occupied by one of your ships, you can play the terraria tile to remove the whale from your game before it gets to capsize your ship. Your ship remains in the sea space. End of game. Under one of the mountain tiles is a volcano icon. As soon as the tile is revealed, a volcanic eruption destroys what remains of the island, as well as any explorers who haven't reached Safe Isle. The game ends. At the end of the game, flip over all of the explorer tokens you have managed to get to Safe Isles and add up the numbers of points printed on them. It's the players with the highest total and not necessarily the most explorers saved who wins the game. It's possible that you might not have any explorers left to move while the game is not yet over. In that case, continue playing but skip step number 2 of the game overview. Move your explorer and or ship tokens during your game turns. Then they have a 2-player game, challenges, challenges 1, overpopulated, challenges 2, to the last test, challenge 3, all equal, challenge 4, Atlantis submerged. And so these are alternative forms to play. So a 2-player game, if you're playing with 2 players, you can decide to use 2 colors for each player. This will keep the island from being underpopulated and make the game more fun. At the end of the game, total up your point earnings by each color of explorer tokens. Challenges. Here are a few variations or challenges which will add a bit of variety and complexity to the game. The overpopulated. During the game setup, the players can place up to 2 explorer tokens onto area tiles, except of those adjacent to sea serpents on the island coast, where only 1 explorer token can be placed. Challenge 2. To the last. The game ends when the last explorer token is removed from the game board, by being saved or removed by a creature or whirlpool. When the volcanic eruption tile is revealed, treat it as a whirlpool tile and continue the game if explorer tokens remain on the board. Challenge 3. All equal. The winners of the game is the player with the most explorer tokens on the safe isle when the game ends. The number printed under the tokens are ignored. Challenge 4. Atlantis submerged. The game ends immediately when the last terraria tile is removed from the board. When the volcanic eruption tile is revealed, treat it as a whirlpool and continue the game if any terrain tiles remain on the board. And that is it, guys. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell icon so that way you know when we post again. And leave a comment. Is this a game you'd want to play? Is this some game that you've actually heard of before? What do you guys think about it? And until next time, everyone. Bye.